This episode contains discussions of suicide and suicidal thoughts. Please take care while listening. You overcame both bipolar disorder and MS using nutrition and mindset. That's kind of unheard of. What was the moment that you realized the path your doctors laid out wouldn't work for you?
I tried the normal route with a psychiatrist, with a cocktail of medications, with therapy, all different modalities. I say that the medication did work because it kept me out of the psych ward and it kept me from taking my own life, but I wasn't functioning. It wasn't until I got to the bottom of the barrel, I had nowhere else to go, that whenever I was shown this example of Amber O'Hearn, that she had resolved her bipolar disorder symptoms 10 years previously, I was just like, I'll try anything. I wasn't going against what my doctors were saying. I continued taking my psych meds and my modalities and everything. I did it in addition to. And then whenever I experienced relief and I experienced clarity and I experienced thinking about the future in a positive way, I was just like, okay, like there's something here. And then the multiple sclerosis snuck in. I know that the way that I was eating didn't cause the multiple sclerosis. It just peeled back the curtain and revealed it. That was me going against the doctors. I just did kind of a common study and I realized that the deteriorated myelin sheath on my nerves that was multiple sclerosis is made out of fat. And so I was like, I just need to keep eating fat. And also that it was inflammation. And so I'm already on the right track to have less inflammation by not eating Doritos and ramen noodles and donuts and eating fatty animal meat. It was a gamble that paid off for me.
Maybe share a bit about when you first started feeling bipolar, what you were eating, what you think led up to it, and what that state was like.
Yeah, I don't think I ever felt normal. I would always have just very extreme emotions as a child, and then definitely it was exacerbated in adolescence with all the hormones and everything.
How did it show up, though, emotionally in your adolescence when you were first getting more hormonal?
Everything was just catastrophized in my mind. And it wasn't that my circumstances were a problem. It was the lens with which I saw my circumstances through. Somebody would say something and I would be like, oh my gosh, this person hates me. This is the end of my life. I would just catastrophize things in my mind. And I felt very alone. I felt like even when I did speak my truth, I would get these looks from people that were like, what? So I learned to not share who I am. And then in my 20s, it looked like risky behavior, impulsivity, lots of firing from different jobs, failed marriages, broken relationships with friends and family members. It was just this literal like tornado path of just destruction that was the life of Emily.
And you were also pretty heavy then as well, because you're not at all now. Sharing that contrast is important as well.
Yeah. I was at my highest, I was about 260 pounds. I'm 5'8", and now I'm about 140. My lowest that I got to was 130.
So you lost like 120, 130 pounds.
And pretty fast, like within the first year. I recognize that a lot of it was inflammation. Like I look back at pictures and I can just see the inflammation in my body. I didn't want to lose weight. Like I didn't think there was anything wrong with my body. That's what everybody in Southeast Missouri looks like. I didn't think anything. So I wasn't trying to lose weight. It was a cool side effect whenever I could bend over and tie my shoes without taking a break, because I just thought that's the way everybody was in their 30s, 40s.
The people we surround ourselves with, the mirrors, right? If you don't have contrast, you don't know. So you were in your 20s and you weren't necessarily diagnosed bipolar at that point. So when did you actually get that label, or when did you learn that label?
Ironically, I got diagnosed when I was in grad school, getting my master's in clinical counseling. So here I am studying psychology so that I can help others. And I found out about myself. And I put the pieces of the puzzle together. I talked to a colleague. I said, what do you think about this? And she was like, yes, this is textbook. Went to my psychiatrist and I just gave him the checklist. And it was like, I'm experiencing this, and this. What do you think it is? And the psychiatrist was like, that's textbook bipolar disorder.
When you talk about rock bottom, though, things got pretty bad, right?
My bipolar disorder went into rapid cycling in the fall of of 2018. Bipolar disorder goes into mania and then it goes into depression. And sometimes you get a year in between, sometimes you get a month in between. I didn't know who I was from one day to the next. It was like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. And it became unethical for me to practice as a therapist because before I would knock it out of the park 3-4 days a week and I was fine. This turned into I would do my morning sessions and then by 11 o'clock, I had to go home and be under the covers in bed because my anxiety was like through the roof. I had to quit working. And I moved in with my mom at the age of 40. And then it was February of 2019 that I found the carnivore diet. I went overnight from ramen noodles and Takis and donuts and beer and wine and all the things to ribeyes, chicken wings, fatty pork butt, bacon, breakfast sausage, all the fatty meat.
And did you go strict carnivore, or were you still doing dairy as well?
I didn't do dairy and I didn't do eggs. And I noticed that I was reacting to butter even. And I found out later, MS patients, they react to the casein in butter. They even react to the trace amounts of casein in ghee. And so everything was beef tallow. And then eventually, within 8 to 10 months, I really fine-tuned it and found out that beef was the only thing that I did not have a reaction to. So I went straight lion diet within 10 months.
And that was mostly through a process of an elimination, right? So you started pulling things out, you pulled out all the processed foods, you mostly went meat-based or carnivore, but then noticed, oh, some of these other things were still doing that, and then went full lion.
Absolutely. Because I was on food stamps. I was getting the meat right out of the grocery store. I was getting the chicken with all the hormones in it. So I noticed that whenever I would eat chicken, I would get emotional. And I would get irritable. So I just stopped eating the chicken. And I found that whenever I just ate the beef, even though it was grocery store beef, I was feeling better mentally, physically, emotionally.
It's fascinating. I mean, when your system is so sensitive, you really can gauge those subtle, chicken versus beef versus fish or whatever it is. I don't think most people ever notice those things because to a degree, I think most people are not eating mindfully. They're not really in their bodies while they're eating. It's like a lifestyle or a way of feeling. It sounds like you had to be very mindful. You're kind of on the edge. If you go off, you really go off.
I could go to the psych ward. I think that other people who are neurotypical, they think, yeah, I've had bad days too. No, my bad day could be me selling everything I own and moving to another state. Or my bad day could be wanting to take my own life. These extremes. I couldn't just go and be like, oh, well, I'm having a cheat day, so I'm going to have a piece of cake. That could end up with me in the psych ward. I had to stay very safe in that transition. It was, like you said, a really great experiment because then I was able to fine tune what am I feeling best on and who doesn't want to feel best? Who doesn't want to feel better?
If you enjoyed the clip from the podcast, make sure to check out the next video up here or head over to watch the full episode down here. And before you go, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Come on. Yeah, thanks for watching.